What's up, everyone? It is Tuesday night before game one versus the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Got the Western Conference Finals on the TV. Been a busy couple days since Saturday, so we'll do a quick recap on the Celtics series, and then let's preview that Pacers series that's coming up. So, our last video that we posted was after the Game 5, to me, embarrassing game. And the title of the video was How Would They Respond? Well, they responded like a team, like a championship team. They responded like a contender. And when you respond like that, it gives you hope for this team. And now we're going into the Eastern Conference Finals. First time in 25 years. First time clinching at home in 25 years. And you know what? The way they played that game 6 is all you can ask for. They came out as hard as they possibly could, playing as hard as they possibly could on both ends. Karl Anthony Towns set the tone. Jalen Brunson brought it. I mean, I think he had 6 points in the first half, really, but it was everybody else. Bridges, Hart with the triple dub. I mean, OG started slow shooting and then picked it up, but the defense was insane. Blocked by Deuce. I mean, it was just an insane atmosphere. The garden was electric. It was fantastic, and that's exactly all you can ask for from your team. They stepped up, you know. You got Fred Katz talking about how they had a players only meeting after game 5, and I think going into this Pacers series now, I think that game 5 was a wake-up call for them. I think after game 4 they were feeling themselves a little bit. I think even Brunson said it. They celebrated a little bit too much, and they thought the series was over. Tatum was hurt. They thought it was over. They thought they can walk into Boston and just beat them, you know, without having that right mindset. And I think Brunson said it. He said all day it didn't feel like they had that mindset. They weren't ready to compete, and it showed. I mean, the first half it looked like they had spurts of here and there, and then it looked like okay, we got this. It's over. It's over. It's over. And then Boston said, it's not. And on one hand, you want to say, all right, this team sat down. They looked themselves in the mirror. They looked at their teammates and they talked it out and they figured out what was missing and they came correct. On the other hand, you can look at it and say, why did they need that in the playoffs? But if that can be the wake up call for them, awesome. You know, I do think it was a wake up call. I don't think this team is going to come out and say, oh, we're going to steamroll the Pacers. No, I don't. But I think they're going to come out with that correct energy. I think people they like to call it the FU energy. You know, the crowd has that FU energy. You want your team to have that FU energy. It looks like OKC is about to start pulling away here. They're up by 6, and they're on one of those patented runs where they get every call. SGA gets to go to the line when you just breathe on them, and the Timberwolves are look like they're fading a little bit. But all right, so back to the Pacers. I think this series is going to come down to a few things. We talked about it with the Boston series. Came down to Josh Hart rebounding, and can Towns take advantage of a small on him, right? I think there's a few of the same things for the series. But the question's going to be, do the Pacers put uh, Turner on Towns, or are they going to put Turner on Josh Hart? The problem for the Pacers is they don't have the big wings like Boston did. Boston could put Jalen Brown on Towns and still have enough size to guard OG, guard Bridges, and had excuse me, and have a defender for Jalen Brunson. For the Pacers, if they put Turner on Hart, okay, you put Siakam on Towns. Siakam's a good enough defender. I mean, I think his defense has fallen off a little bit since Toronto, but still a good, very good defender. And let's say they put Neesmith on Brunson, right? You would think that's what they're going to do. You now have Nemhard on Bridges and Halliburton on OG. Halliburton doesn't want to guard OG. That's a free driving lane because Halliburton's not gonna he's not gonna body up OG. And is Nemhard gonna be tall enough to guard Bridges in the mid post? So then you say, all right, well maybe they'll put Neesmith on OG. Does that mean Nemhard then on Brunson, who Brunson cooked last year, and then Halliburton on Bridges? Again, Bridges or Halliburton has to guard somebody. So it's interesting how the Pacers will match up. Do they play it straight up and they put Halliburton on Hart, maybe? But then here's the thing Halliburton's not going to be boxing out Josh Hart. So Josh Hart's going to have free reign on the boards. And if you look at Josh Hart's numbers on the boards last year against the Pacers, he was dominant on the boards. Dominant. I think he had one game with like 17 rebounds. So here's the thing. If they put Halliburton, who are they hiding Halliburton on? Because then they have to build the defense around it. I think with the Knicks on the other side, it's pretty straightforward. You're putting Towns on Turner. You're putting OG on Siakam, who shut down Siakam in the first two games before he got hurt. Shut him down. You're going to put Hart on probably Neesmith, and you're going to put Bridges on Halliburton, and you'll put Brunson on Nemhard. So it's pretty straight up for the Knicks. For the Pacers, it's a little different, and they have been playing good defense. That's so like when you look at their series with the Cavs, they put Neesmith on Donovan Mitchell, but it was easy to put Halliburton on Strus because Strus just wanted to shoot threes, and then they put Nemhard on Garland, and then they just played the big straight up. It's a little easier to do that because Strus is just going to shoot threes. If you put Halliburton on any of the Knicks players, they're just going to post him up and go to the rim. Like Josh Hart's going to grab 100 rebounds if they put Halliburton on him because Halliburton doesn't want to box out. He doesn't box out. So all he wants to do is get the ball and push, right? So you got to be careful who you hide him on. This isn't the Knicks last year where the Knicks had a bunch of players where you could hide him on. Like I think last year they put Halliburton on. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even remember. They didn't put him on Hart. Maybe they did. Maybe that's why maybe Hart. That's why Hart. I gotta go look at it. But maybe that's why Hart grabbed so many rebounds because because Halliburton was on him and not boxing him out. So I wonder if that's what happened. So like that's I think that's one of the biggest keys to this series. Can the Knicks slow down the pace enough where the Pacers have to guard in the half court, which I don't think they can guard the Knicks in the half court. I just don't. But if the game is going to be up and down, that's going to cause problems for the Knicks because the Pacers are deadly. They're deadly in the open court. They get an open three, they're going to hit it, and they have been hitting it in the playoffs. Now, does that shooting come back to the mean? I think so a little bit. I mean, Siakam's shooting 45% from three. I mean, Neesmith is shooting over 50% from three. So you expect it to come down a little bit. Other, I think the OG Siakam matchup is the key to this series, and I'll say why. Halliburton is not the type to take over games scoring until the game is in a flow. So what I'm saying is he's not going to come out and go and start scoring. He's just not going to do it. He's not. That's not his game. He's going to go. He's going to go look, kick it out, find the open man. He's going to run the offense. So Siakam's usually their number one scorer to start games and in the clutch. So if OG is shutting him down or making life difficult for him, it's going to be interesting how the Pacers adjust to that. Who's going to step up and score? Is it going to be Nemhard? Is it going to be Halliburton? Because Halliburton usually doesn't start off fast scoring. And when you start playing when you start playing good defense on them, Halliburton shrinks. Now, if the Pacers are having a free flowing game, that's where he gets his points. That's when he starts getting to a flow and then he starts dancing because the Pacers are winning. Pacers are losing. It's usually not Halliburton that brings them back. It's Siakam. Siakam is their number one guy. He has been since he's gotten there. So I think that matchup excuse me, between OG and Siakam is the key to this series. Because in those first two games last year, OG locked Siakam down, locked him. And the Knicks won both those games. So it's going to be interesting to see how OG plays Siakam this year. And it's funny because everyone says that Halliburton's the engine to that team. And you could say that with moving the ball, finding the open man, sure. But offensively to score, it's Siakam and Nemhard. Nemhard, god damn. Excuse me. Nemhard is an underrated scorer for them now. And I'd argue it's him and Siakam that are their top two scorers. And Halliburton is the guy that finds everybody. And once the game is in a flow, that's when he starts scoring. He's not going to take over games scoring. That's not his game. So does Nemhard take advantage of Brunson? Interesting. You know, that could be an underrated aspect to look at it too. The other aspect to look at in this series is pace. It's going to be talked about ad nauseum. The pace, the pace, the pace, the pace. Everyone's going to say, well, the Pacers play 10 guys, the Knicks play 7, they're going to run them out of the gym. I, I don't think that's an advantage that people think it is. The reason the Pacers beat the Bucks, yes, is their depth. But it's their depth because the Bucks have one guy. They had one guy. Lillard was hurt. They have one guy. The rest of their team is not good. So that's why, yes, the Pacers' depth beat them. With the Cavs, Garland was playing on an injured foot. Mobley missed a game. Hunter missed a game. And their depth really didn't play well. So Ty Jerome wasn't playing well. And I also think the Cavs' depth was a little overrated because Ty Jerome played so well. But that's they have the Cavs just couldn't match up. With the Knicks, they have 7 guys. right? 7 guys you say that they trust, correct? So if the Pacers play 10 guys, right? And say Shepard is playing 15 minutes and Toppin's playing 15 to 20 minutes, right? Well, if Toppin's going to be playing, if the Knicks play 7 and start the second quarter, the lineup has Mitch and Cat. Is Obi going to be able to stop Karl Anthony Towns? So you can have all the depth in the world, but in a playoff series, they're going to have to guard their top guys. They're not going to be playing against other bench guys. So why is their depth so important? Their depth's important because they don't have a number one star. They don't have a Jalen Brunson. They don't have a Karl Anthony Towns. Halliburton's a very good player. Siakam's a very good player. But are they stars? Are they guys that are they Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown? No. Are they SGA? No. Are they Anthony Edwards? No. They're not guys that are going to take the ball and go score. They're not that. They play a team game. Pacers play a team game. So that's why their depth is important to them. But when you're playing a team that's top 7, and I'd argue the Knicks have 4 or 5 of the best players in the series. When the Knicks play their starters 38 minutes, right? 38 to 40 minutes. And they got Deuce. Oh, yeah. You got Deuce that plays 25 minutes. You got Mitch that's going to play 25 minutes. You might sprinkle in Cameron Payne. You're going to have Obi Toppin guarding Karl Anthony Towns and trying to keep Mitch off the boards. You're going to have Thomas Bryant trying to keep Mitch off the boards. Who's the advantage there? Who's the advantage? Karl Anthony Towns can play 40 minutes. That's not going to bother him. It's not going to bother him. He's not going to get tired. When Shepard's in the game, who's he guarding? OG? Bridges? Josh Hart? Jalen Brunson? Deuce? Who has the advantage there? TJ McConnell. You're not going against Alec Burks this year. You're going against Jalen Brunson. Deuce McBride. Who has the advantage there? So, like, when people talk about their depth's not playing against other depth. Like the Cavs in the Cavs series. The Cavs played Mitchell 31 minutes a game, 32 minutes a game. They were stupid. If you played Mitchell 40 minutes a game, you probably win game 1 and you probably win game 2. But they were gassed. Cavs relied on their depth and they lost. The Pacers' depth is not going to beat out the Knicks starters. It's not going to happen. The reason their depth won out last year is because the Knicks ran out of bodies. So let's talk about last year. Because I keep saying, oh, the Pacers beat the Knicks last year. Can we please stop talking about last year's series? Because it means absolutely nothing after game 2. Dante DiVincenzo was the Knicks' second best scorer. Dante DiVincenzo. And I love Dante. But he'd be the 5th scorer on this team. 5th. Maybe. There was no Julius Randle. OG was out after game 2. The Knicks starters in game 3 were Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Precious Achua, and Isaiah Hartenstein. That was their starting lineup. Their bench was Deuce, Alec Burks, and Jericho Sims. That was their bench. I'm sorry. That is a play-in team. At best. At best, that's a play-in team. and it took the Pacers to 7 games. And it should have won game 3. Can we stop talking about last year's team? Because if Pacers fans want to talk about how they beat the Knicks last year, please look at the lineups the Knicks were throwing out there. It was worse than the 2021 starting lineup. So I don't want to hear about last year's team. It's absolutely ridiculous to talk about. This team that the Knicks are throwing at the Pacers is 10 times better than what they had after game 2. Hell, even game 1, this team is better. Again, Dante DiVincenzo was your second best scorer. OG was your second best player. I I give the Pacers credit. They're a good team. They're a very good team. But can we? They're getting to the point where they're overrated based on their runs. I keep hearing, oh, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row. They would have been a first round exit last year if Giannis wasn't hurt. A team with no Giannis took them to Game 6. The Knicks MASH squad took them to Game 7. And remember something important. Brunson was hurt after Game 2. He said it himself. He thought the ligament in the bottom of his foot ripped off the bone in Game 2. He was playing with that bad of a hurt foot. And the Knicks took them to 7 games. I know it's a different year. I know it is. But this is the same team for the Pacers. They play slightly better defense, and they're shooting the lights out right now. That's it. Halliburton, and I'm going to tell you right now, you could see it in the Knicks' faces. They're pissed off about last year. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are pissed off about last year. Josh Hart did not like how the Pacers celebrated last year. Halliburton wearing that choke t-shirt. What a freaking tool bag. I'm going to say this about this team, though. I think Game 5 will come up. I think they're going to come out hard. They're going to come out strong. And I think they're going to answer the bell. I really do. I'm not saying the Knicks are going to sweep. I'm not saying the Knicks are going to win in 5, 6, 7, whatever. I think the Pacers team is going to give them some trouble at certain points of the series. But the Knicks, on paper, are a much better team. They just are. 1 through 5, they are. What's going to hurt them is the pace. The Pacers do not turn the ball over, so the Knicks are not going to be able to get out and run. Where the Knicks are going to win this series is on their talent, their top 5. This is a big series for Karl-Anthony Towns because it's a mismatch. They're rebounding. The Pacers do not keep teams off the boards. They don't. They don't try to offense rebound. They don't at all. And they don't keep teams off the boards. You can rebound the crap out of them. And that will kill their pace. It will kill their pace. So you gotta rebound. You get those offensive rebounds, it's gonna kill their pace. And if Josh Hart is killing them on the glass, it's gonna force Halliburton to start trying to box out, and that's gonna slow them down as well. So yes, the Pacers are gonna try to run. That's their game. You keep them in the half court, you're gonna win the series. You're gonna win the series easily if you keep them in the half court. Easier said than done. And I think the Pacers will have a couple games where they shoot the lights out. It's going to happen. But this series on paper, the Knicks should win. So they have home court. And I think this is going to be a fun series. It's going to be a hard fought series. I hope everyone enjoys the series. Hopefully us Knicks fans enjoy the series. I'll be back after game one. We'll talk about it. A little less than 24 hours. Game one, Eastern Conference Finals. To a rocking Garden crowd. Enjoy it. Have a good night, everyone. And let's go, Knicks.